Hello and welcome to this new Android development tutorial. This is part 2 of how to make a camera application for Android. In the previous tutorial we initialized the permissions and we tested some of the UI and also solved some problems we found along the way. Right now we will continue to initialize our camera. For that we will go to our main activity.java file and on the onResume method we will go to the if is camera initialized if that is false, so we will go to that if statement and we will get and initialize our camera. Okay, so basically our camera object we will use the following global variables. We already have the mCamera object, but we also need the preview of our camera. For that we're gonna create the following. Private camera preview okay, let me see. Camera preview, apparently we cannot create a camera preview. Let me see what's going on here. Okay, camera preview, let me see why we cannot create a camera preview. Let me see what's going on. Something strange is happening right here. Actually, I think we have to implement that ourselves if I'm not wrong. Maybe we have to create the preview ourselves because Android doesn't have a kind of a default way of doing a camera preview apparently. So we have to create that class ourselves. Okay, so we will delete these and we will create a class ourselves. We will do it as follows. After the onResume method, we're gonna create a new class. Private class camera preview. So this is the camera preview. This will extend surface view. Okay, we have to import this and we'll implement the surface holder callback. So implement surface holder dot callback. Okay, great. We open this class and as you may see we have these errors that will be fixed as we continue typing. Okay, so to improve performance in these we can make these classes static. So we're gonna make static and inside these we're gonna say private static surface holder holder, okay, which will be our surface holder, and we also create a local camera object. So private static camera camera, okay, which is our camera object. And of course we have to create our constructor method, which will be private, because this is in our class, so camera preview, and as parameters we will need the context, which we will also call context, and a camera, which we will also camera what I'm doing here. Okay, camera, and we will also call camera. Okay, we will open the constructor method and we will call it super and we will pass our context. Okay, and we will set mCamera to the camera we get. So mCamera equals to camera. So here's a typo right here. Make sure it says camera. Okay, now it's fixed. Great. We continue and go and set mHolder to get holder right here, and also mHolder add callback to this because we're implementing the callback in the surface holder class. Okay, now we also have to set the type of it. So we're gonna say mHolder that set type surface holder that surface type push buffers. Okay, great. So this is for our constructor class right here. Now we are extending the surface view class. For that we have to create a couple more methods. The first one being public void surface, surface created. Okay, and we will pass we'll have a parameter surface holder. We will call it holder. Okay, we'll open this method and set our global holder to this. So you're gonna say we will have to set a global class holder. So remember when we were defining the classes out here on the camera class, we also have to define a holder outside it. Okay, so let's do it right now. So basically this my holder thing right here we will set will be the holder that will be accessed by our outside class. So since it's in the static class, we're gonna say private static surface holder, and we will call it my holder. Okay, so we have now created our holder, and we can go back to our camera preview class. So we go back to our camera preview class, and we will continue writing it. So in the surface created method, we're gonna set my holder will be set to holder. Okay, and here we will set the preview display of our camera. So we will show the user the actual camera preview. To do that, we're gonna say mCamera that set preview display, and we'll set this to holder. Okay, and we will also say mCamera that start preview. Great. So as you can see here, we have to handle this exception. So we will click in here and click on surround with try catch. Okay, great. And to make this look a bit better, we will put this line inside the try block right here. And that's it for our surface created method. We will also have to create a surface destroyed method. So you're gonna say public void surface destroyed. Okay, and again it will have surface holder of name holder. And for now we won't be using this method. Okay, we won't be using the method. Now we will go and create another method which will be public void surface changed, and as parameters will be surface holder. Then we will have int format we have int width, we can just write W, and int height, we can just write in H. And we again won't use this for now because we don't really need it. And now we have created our own camera preview class. We will use this class to show the camera content to the user, which is awesome. Okay, so right now we have done this, and we will go and initialize our camera. And as I told you, we will have to define some global variables right here. So after we define the holder, we will access the preview, in this case the preview we just created. So we're gonna say private static camera preview, and we'll call this m preview. Okay, great. But we will also want to create a kind of preview as a layout, so we want to display to the user, right? So for that, we're going to say private frame layout, and we'll call this preview. Great. Okay, so right now we have a couple of variables that are quite useful for us, and we will do the following. So in the onResume method, in this if statement that checks if camera is not initialized, we will initialize it as follows. So we will set mPreview, mPreview, we will be set to new camera preview this m camera. Okay, great. And we also have to create a preview in XML, the frame layout, which is this right here. So to do that, we will go to our activity main XML file, and here we will do the following. We will do frame layout. The width will be much parent. The height will be, let's see, we will set it to 0 dp, but we will set weight 1 for now. We can change this later, of course, if we need to. So we have frame layout. Okay, and the ID of this will be camera preview. Okay, which is awesome. We close this element, and I think we're now ready to continue. So we will go back to our main activity.java file, and here after we initialize the mPreview, we will initialize also the frame layout with our preview. So you're going to say preview will be set to find view by ID r.id.camera preview. Okay, which is great. And now we will add the preview of our code to the preview of our XML file. To do that, we will do preview dot add view, and we will pass m preview. So we have added our preview to the XML layout. Okay, which is great. Now, sometimes the camera in some devices won't work as easy as we might expect. So maybe the camera has some rotation internally that we have to take care of. Okay, so we will call a method that we will call, the method will be rotate camera. So we'll create a method right here saying private void rotate camera. Okay, and this is also useful when we are switching between front and back cameras. Okay, so first of all, in this rotate camera, we have to check if the camera object is not null. For that, we're going to say if M camera is different than null. So if M camera is different than null, we will get the rotation of it. The rotation of the camera is a useful parameter we will use later, so we will set that as a global variable. So private int rotation, okay? And the rotation of the camera will be a value that will contain the kind of the rotation of our camera. Okay, so we will just call it rotation. Okay, it's for performance, we can also use a static here. So static, which will be kind of better, not really important, but you know, kind of better. Okay, so we have rotate camera. If camera is different than null, then we will get kind of the rotation of display. So you can say rotation will be equal to this dot get window manager dot get default display dot get rotation. Yeah, get rotation. Great. Now we'll do some checks right here that we have to know if we are setting the rotation right or not. So first gonna say if rotation equals 0, then we will change rotation to 90. Why? Because that's kind of 90 is the default, so we have to change in everything in function of 90. Okay? And then we're gonna say if, else if rotation equals 1, these will be set to rotation 0 actually, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so it's gonna say, so we have 0, 1, so let's go with 2. So we're gonna kind of go anti-clockwise. So else if rotation equals 2, okay, we will set rotation to 270, so which is 360 minus 90. Okay, and else if it's 3, it will be 180. So rotation equals to 180. So this basically enables us to know about the rotation of the device and also the rotation of the camera itself. Okay, so now we're gonna kind of have a flag that will tell us which camera is being used. Okay, okay, so let's gonna say as global variable private static boolean, call it which camera, for example, and we'll set this to true because we will use it as in a simpler way to set and get the camera, which camera is being used actually. Okay, so after we do this, we want to set the new rotation. So you can say m camera dot set display orientation, and we will set this to rotation. Okay, which is awesome. Great. Now additional to that, if which camera is false, what that means, okay? So what means when which camera is false? Well, it basically means it's not the default camera. So it's not the back camera, it is the front camera. And when we switch between front and back, sometimes we have incompatibilities. So to solve these incompatibilities, we change a bit the rotation. So we check if rotation is equal to 90, we will set the rotation to 270, okay? And we say else if rotation is equal to 270, okay, we will set rotation equals to 90. Okay, great. So that's with which camera. And then we're gonna say the parameters of the camera. So the parameters of the camera are basically the features and the current state of the camera, which we will be access them as a global variable. For that, we go and say private static camera that parameters, we will call them P, okay? And we'll define that as a global variable. So now if we go back to our rotate method, rotate camera method, here we're going to say P, which are the parameters, equals to M camera that get parameters. Why do we do this? Because we kind of change the parameters so we are getting the new ones. So we're going to say P that set rotation, and we will set these to rotation, okay? And we're going to say M camera that set parameters, of course, to P. And that's it for rotate camera method, for the rotate camera method. Okay, so if we go back to our onResume method in where we are initializing the camera, we have added the preview, as you can see right here, and just now we have to call rotate camera because that method will take care about the current state of the camera and fix it for us. Okay, which is great. Now, some cameras have flash features and some actually don't. So to support them, we will go and create a button on our activity main.xml file. So after the frame layout, we're gonna create a linear layout with match parent. The height will be 50 dp, for example. The orientation will be set to horizontal. And here we will start creating kind of buttons. So the first button that we will create right here will be about the flash features, right? Okay. So the flash feature will be as follows. The width will be 0 dp, the height will be match parent, the weight will be 1, okay? The ID of this button will be flash, just like that, okay? So we will also create a couple more elements right here, but we'll do that later. Okay, so if we go back to our main activity.java, as I was telling you, some cameras have flash and some cameras doesn't have flash. So we want to check if the current camera has or not flash. To do that, we will create a method. We're gonna say private static boolean has flash. Okay. Okay, and we will actually get the parameters of our camera. We can get some parameters of our camera, calling them get supported color effects, for example. So some parameters, some color effects can be black and white or something like that. To store those color effects, we will create an array list as follows. Private static list of strings we'll call it, don't forget to import the list of strings. We will call it cam effects. Okay, great. So inside the has flash method, we will say cam effects will be to p that get supported color effects. Okay, then we're gonna basically, when we check for flash, we'll also be checking for these cam effects as a way of loading them quicker. Okay, then we're gonna say and get the flash modes to see if the device supports flash or not. So final list of string, we'll call this flash modes, and we set p that get supported flash modes. Okay, and here we will say the first check will be if flash mode is null, then we will return false right away. So return false, which means doesn't support camera. Okay, but then it's still not ends, doesn't end here. So we're gonna continue. For string flash mode, okay, at flash modes, this is a for each loop, so you can say if camera that parameters that flash mode on that equals flash mode, we will return true. Okay, otherwise outside the for each method we will return false. Okay, this is great. Now we know if the camera has or not flash features. Okay, this has been everything for this video. We will continue initializing this complex camera application in the next tutorial. I hope you like it, and I see you in the next one. Bye.